Played that clip for you earlier, but Harry, in that bizarre Channel 4 interview, he then also was asked a question about his uncle Andrew and he laughed it off. Have a look.
Months now, well, years, but specifically months in the lead up to this trip, it was really important for us to highlight the incredible work that Jordan does in this region. I think there's a lot of stuff in the news. It goes at an incredible pace.
The focus may have briefly shifted away from global conflict, but controversy surrounding the royal family has quickly filled that space. Over the weekend, reports emerged suggesting a significant shift in how Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are being treated within royal circles, and the implications are far from minor. Initially, King Charles was said to have taken a protective stance toward the York sisters. The position was clear: whatever controversies surrounded their father, Prince Andrew, his daughters should not be punished for his actions. They were to remain included in royal events, welcomed at family gatherings, and shielded from the fallout of decisions they did not directly make. But that tone now appears to have hardened. New reporting suggests that Beatrice and Eugenie are increasingly being distanced from official royal life. The change follows renewed scrutiny tied to the broader Jeffrey Epstein scandal and financial associations linked to their parents. While there has been no direct accusation of wrongdoing against the sisters themselves, questions have intensified regarding their proximity to controversial figures and business relationships. One of the most striking developments reportedly concerns Royal Ascot, the prestigious annual event where members of the royal family traditionally appear together in public display. According to claims circulating in the press, the York sisters will not be invited to participate this year. In previous years, they often joined the king in the carriage procession before the races began, a symbolic and highly visible role. Their absence would mark a clear signal of institutional distancing. Further reports suggest that exclusion may not be limited to Ascot alone. Sources indicate that future royal events could also be closed to them. If confirmed, that would represent a substantial shift in status. The backdrop to this development includes a report that Prince William had previously suggested an independent ethics review of the sisters' personal financial investments. According to coverage in the Daily Mail, this proposal was made last November amid growing concern about potential exposure to questionable business connections. The idea, reportedly, was preventative, an effort to get ahead of any scandal before it materialized. However, the proposal was allegedly declined. That refusal, according to the same reporting, is when Prince William's concern intensified. Palace insiders are said to be acutely aware that Prince Andrew and his business associates acted as financial advisors to the York sisters. With Andrew's history and associations under renewed scrutiny, uncertainty remains about whether all related dealings are entirely above board. The recent DOJ document release appears to have acted as a tipping point. Revelations that individuals voluntarily spent time with Jeffrey Epstein after his conviction reignited public outrage. While the sisters have not been formally accused of criminal activity, association alone carries reputational weight in the modern media climate. Within the royal family, reputation is currency, and when public trust becomes fragile, even indirect connections can trigger defensive action. For now, what appears to be unfolding is a quiet but unmistakable repositioning. Support that may once have been extended, including from Prince Harry and Meghan, is reportedly being withdrawn. The Prince and Princess of Wales are described as particularly distant. If these reports are accurate, the York sisters are facing a profound recalibration of their royal standing, not because of proven misconduct, but because of proximity to controversy.
Life.
And in today's
but
climate,
that's not being accepted because it won't work if you then go off and try and sell.
Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, the center of gravity in this unfolding royal crisis remains Prince Andrew. Reports circulating in the media suggest that the cumulative toll of the past year has been severe. According to commentary referenced during the discussion, Andrew is said to be under significant personal strain, with claims that concerns have even been raised about his mental health. The phrase suicide watch was mentioned, a serious and sobering allegation, though one not officially confirmed by palace sources. From a human standpoint, the conversation becomes complex. Regardless of public anger or legal controversy, mental health concerns demand empathy. No one wishes personal collapse on anyone. Yet commentators were equally clear in stressing that whatever consequences Andrew faces are the result of his own decisions. Over the past year, Andrew has endured public disgrace, the stripping of royal titles, removal from military patronages, and effective exile from official royal life. Still, according to reports, there are indications that he remains in partial denial about the scale of his predicament, reportedly focused on everyday privileges, such as parking arrangements, horse riding, or shooting weekends, rather than fully confronting the reputational damage he faces. At the core of this crisis lies his association with Jeffrey Epstein. It was emphasized during the discussion that Andrew continued communication with Epstein even after Epstein had been convicted as a sex offender. Furthermore, he later settled a civil lawsuit with Eugenie, who accused him of sexual abuse across multiple countries. Andrew has consistently denied the allegations, but the financial settlement, reportedly amounting to millions, only deepened public skepticism. From a legal perspective, commentators argued that Andrew's mental state would only be relevant if it impacted his ability to stand trial, or if it could be demonstrated that he was mentally compromised at the time of alleged actions. Otherwise, personal distress does not alter questions of accountability. Importantly, Virginia Giuffre was also referenced, her tragic death by suicide adding another layer of gravity to the entire saga. The reminder served as a stark contrast. While Andrew faces reputational ruin, others have suffered irreversible consequences. Within royal circles, the strain of this situation is undeniable. Andrew's continued presence and proximity to the institution creates ongoing reputational risk. His daughter's shifting status appears, in part, connected to that risk management. The monarchy, as an institution, operates on symbolic authority. Public trust, dignity, and moral standing are central pillars. When those pillars are shaken, corrective action often follows, even if quietly. If Andrew's mental health is indeed deteriorating, it adds urgency to an already delicate situation. But as the commentary emphasized repeatedly, this crisis was not externally imposed. It was self-created. And as the royal family recalibrates its internal boundaries, the consequences appear to be expanding beyond one individual, reshaping relationships, access, and public standing across the wider royal circle. As the York sisters face increasing distance from royal life and Prince Andrew's crisis deepens, attention has now shifted sharply toward Prince Harry and Meghan and their recent international activity. Only days ago, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were in Jordan. At the time, the visit appeared framed as humanitarian engagement, but events that followed in the Middle East have cast that trip in a far more controversial light. Critics argue that the couple's presence in volatile regions creates unnecessary diplomatic complications. Unlike official royal tours, which involve months, sometimes years, of coordination between governments and foreign offices, Harry and Meghan's visits are privately arranged. They are not state-sanctioned. They are not formally coordinated through the British Foreign Office. Yet the titles remain. And that is where the tension lies. When King Charles travels abroad, every movement is calculated. Security, protocol, political sensitivities, all are handled with diplomatic precision. Royal visits represent Britain itself. They are extensions of statecraft. By contrast, Harry and Meghan's visit to Jordan was described during the discussion as unofficial, even to the extent that they reportedly appeared at a British embassy event without formal invitation. If accurate, such actions risk blurring the line between private initiative and official representation. That line matters enormously in geopolitics. The issue escalated further following Prince Harry's Channel 4 interview, in which he made comments regarding humanitarian corridors in Gaza. An Israeli deputy foreign minister publicly criticized those remarks, describing them as amplifying what he called a false narrative. He reportedly invited Harry to visit and see the situation firsthand. This is where titles become diplomatically sensitive. When Harry speaks, he may consider himself a private citizen, but globally, he is still perceived as the Duke of Sussex, a member of the British royal family. His words can be interpreted as reflective of Britain's position, even when they are not. That perception creates diplomatic consequences. The British monarchy survives, in part, because of its strict neutrality. Working royals do not freelance foreign policy. They do not publicly weigh in on disputed geopolitical narratives. Neutrality protects the institution and prevents it from becoming entangled in partisan disputes. Critics argue that when Harry comments on active war zones, he steps beyond symbolic territory and into political risk. Governments negotiate humanitarian corridors, not celebrities. Even if well-intentioned, public commentary from a titled royal in such contexts can complicate delicate diplomatic balances. Security concerns add another layer. Had
goes
regional
out of the
escalation
area,
intensified
and they don't
while
want him
Harry
to
and Meghan
smile.
remained in Jordan,
I think that's a
extraction
bit
would
sort
have
of,
required serious
you can't stop
coordination.
somebody
Some
smiling,
commentators
and
suggest
actually he
that
needs to.
visiting high-risk regions allows Harry to bolster arguments in his ongoing security disputes, presenting himself as exposed to threats that justify expanded protection. Whether that motivation is fair or speculative, the pattern raises questions about judgment. Previous trips, including visits to Nigeria, Colombia, and Ukraine, were also referenced as examples where associations with controversial figures allegedly occurred. Critics argue that insufficient vetting of local contacts increases reputational vulnerability. Supporters may frame these trips as independent humanitarian outreach. Detractors describe them as unofficial royal tours, carefully staged optics without official responsibility. The distinction is crucial. The monarchy operates within defined diplomatic frameworks. Harry and Meghan operate outside them, yet carry titles that blur perception. That contradiction creates recurring friction. As the situation in the Middle East intensifies, the timing of their Jordan visit appears increasingly controversial. Had they remained there as regional tensions escalated, the diplomatic implications could have been severe. Ultimately, the question is not whether they are permitted to travel. It is whether carrying royal titles, while engaging in politically sensitive regions, creates unavoidable institutional risk. And as scrutiny deepens, from Andrew's personal crisis to the York sisters' distancing, and now Harry's geopolitical commentary, the royal family finds itself confronting multiple reputational fronts simultaneously. Taken together, these overlapping controversies reveal something larger than individual missteps. They expose the fragile balancing act now facing the British monarchy. On one front, Prince Andrew remains a source of ongoing reputational damage. His legal battles, financial settlement, stripped titles, and reported mental health concerns continue to cast a long shadow. Even without new allegations, the past remains active in public memory. For an institution built on dignity and symbolic authority, prolonged scandal erodes confidence slowly but persistently. Then there are Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, figures once considered peripheral to frontline royal duty, now reportedly being repositioned in response to risk. If invitations to events like Royal Ascot are indeed withdrawn, the message is unmistakable. Proximity to controversy, even indirect, carries consequences. This appears to reflect a broader institutional recalibration. According to reporting referenced earlier, Prince William had proposed an ethics review of the York sisters' investments, an attempt, it seems, to preempt potential fallout, whether declined out of principle or misjudgment. That refusal may have marked a turning point. In a climate where public scrutiny is relentless, proactive transparency is often seen as a protective measure rather than an admission of guilt. The royal family understands this dynamic well. The modern monarchy survives not by power, but by perception. Neutrality, discipline, and controlled messaging are its survival tools, which brings the focus back to Prince Harry. His post-royal identity remains a point of tension. Though no longer a working royal, he continues to operate globally under his Duke of Sussex title. That title carries diplomatic weight, whether he intends it to or not. When he comments on active geopolitical conflicts, governments listen. When foreign officials respond publicly, the implications ripple outward. The criticism raised following his Channel 4 interview highlights this dilemma clearly. When an Israeli deputy foreign minister publicly challenges his remarks about humanitarian corridors, it transforms what might have been a humanitarian commentary into a diplomatic moment. And diplomatic moments are rarely accidental. The monarchy's core strength has always been its political neutrality. Working royals do not freelance foreign policy. Their presence abroad is carefully negotiated through official channels. Every visit reflects Britain itself. When private individuals bearing royal titles engage independently in volatile regions, Jordan, Nigeria, Colombia, Ukraine, the lines blur. Supporters may see advocacy and outreach. Critics see risk and overreach. That blurred line is increasingly difficult to manage. Had escalating tensions in the Middle East trapped Harry and Meghan in Jordan days longer, the British government could have faced uncomfortable questions. Security coordination, extraction logistics, diplomatic optics, all would have come into play. Even hypothetical risk creates institutional anxiety. Meanwhile, back in the United Kingdom, Prince Andrew's saga continues to test the monarchy's ability to contain fallout. His alleged denial about the seriousness of his situation, juxtaposed with reports of severe emotional strain, presents a troubling image. compassion and accountability coexist uneasily. For King Charles and Prince William, the path forward demands firmness. The removal of titles from Andrew signaled a willingness to protect the institution above individual comfort. Distancing the York sisters, if confirmed, signals consistency. But the Harry question is more complicated. Unlike Andrew, Harry left voluntarily. He operates independently, yet his title ties him, symbolically, to Buckingham Palace. That symbolic connection means that even unofficial actions carry official echoes. The monarchy is entering a period where clarity may be essential. Clear boundaries, clear expectations, clear consequences. Because in today's hyperconnected media environment, ambiguity fuels controversy. What emerges from this moment is not simply scandal, but transformation. The royal family appears to be redefining who stands within its operational circle and who stands outside it. The recalibration may be gradual, even quiet, but it is unmistakable. The British monarchy has survived wars, abdications, and global upheaval. Its resilience lies in adaptation. The current wave of scrutiny, from Andrew's crisis to Harry's diplomacy-adjacent activism, may well represent another inflection point. The question now is not whether change is coming. It is how decisively it will be implemented, and who, ultimately, will remain inside the circle when the dust settles.